when the world slows down and the shelves run empty. It's the garden that keeps hope alive. Imagine the quiet hum of nature, hands planting seeds, golden sunlight warming the soil, and life returning to simple roots. But here's the question. If you had to depend on your land, or even a few pots, could you truly feed yourself? Today, we're uncovering 15 essential crops that can keep your home resilient, your pantry full, and your heart at peace, no matter what comes. Let's rebuild self-reliance, one seed at a time. Let me tell you about Mr. Henry Lawson, a 70-year-old gardener with calloused hands and a gentle voice that carries the kind of wisdom you don't find in books anymore. Every morning, before the sun fully wakes, you'll find him out back, boots damp with dew, tending to rows of beans, carrots, and potatoes that have been his faithful companions for decades. Mr. Lawson grew up during hard times. His mother raised 6 children through the Great Depression, not with full pockets, but with full hands, hands that knew how to dig, plant, and nurture life out of the earth. He used to watch her kneel in that tiny patch of soil behind their house, humming softly while she planted seeds. "This," she'd say, pressing her palm to the dirt, "is where tomorrow's meal begins." Years later, he'd pass that same truth to his own children and grandchildren. "The best pantry," he always said, "is planted, not purchased." Those words aren't just about food, they're about resilience. About a way of life that doesn't depend on what the world has to offer, but on what your hands are willing to grow. Mr. Lawson's garden isn't fancy. No expensive tools, no automated watering system, just a man, his soil, and the quiet understanding that everything we need to survive has already been given to us. And every seed he plants tells a story of struggle, of faith, of families who knew how to make do with what they had. When the world outside feels uncertain, his garden stands as a quiet reminder that self-reliance isn't old-fashioned. It's timeless. He often tells the younger folks who visit his yard, when you grow your own food, you're not just planting crops, you're planting confidence. You're building the kind of peace no storm can take from you. And that's what today's video is really about. Not just growing food, but growing stability, peace of mind, and a legacy of wisdom. Because every tomato vine, every row of corn, every herb you nurture becomes part of that long line of resilience, stretching back generations. So as we explore these 15 essential crops, think of Mr. Lawson, think of his mother, her small garden, and the meals that fed 6 hungry children through the hardest years. This isn't just about survival. It's about remembering who we are, people who can turn a handful of seeds into a season of abundance. By the end of this journey, you'll know which crops can keep your home resilient and your table full. But more than that, you'll feel something deeper, a quiet pride, a connection to those who came before you. And maybe, like Mr. Lawson, you'll realize that true security doesn't come from a store. It comes from the soil beneath your feet. Because in the end, when the shelves go empty and the noise of the world fades, it's the gardeners, the quiet stewards of the earth, who remind us that hope can still grow, even in the hardest ground. Food security isn't just a global issue, it's a deeply personal one. It's about the quiet comfort of knowing that no matter what happens out there, your home will always have something growing, something nourishing, something that belongs to you. We all see it. Prices go up, shelves change, storms hit harder, and sometimes the simplest foods become harder to find. But a seed, that tiny, unassuming miracle, still costs less than a cup of coffee. And from that one seed can come a season's worth of meals, strength, and peace of mind. You don't need acres of land or expensive equipment to build your own food security. A small patch of soil, a few pots on your porch, even a windowsill garden, each can be a quiet act of independence. When you grow your own food, you take back a bit of control in a world that's always shifting. You're not just planting vegetables, you're planting confidence. You're saying, I can take care of myself and my family. Mr. Lawson, from our earlier story, likes to remind people, a garden doesn't just feed your stomach, it feeds your spirit. And he's right. When you step outside, smell the soil, and pick something you grew with your own hands, something changes inside you. You feel connected to nature, to your roots, to the rhythm of life itself. And the benefits go far beyond what's on your plate. Gardening keeps you active, lowers stress, and fills your home with fresh, chemical-free produce that tastes better than anything you could buy. It teaches patience, responsibility, and gratitude, qualities our world could use more of. Food security doesn't mean stockpiling or living in fear. It means preparation through peace. It means creating stability with simple actions, one seed at a time. Because every tomato you grow, every bean sprouting on your balcony, is one less thing you have to worry about when times get tough. Think about it. A handful of seeds could provide weeks of meals. Lettuce that regrows after every cut. Herbs that keep flavoring your meals month after month. Sweet potatoes that feed you today and replant themselves for tomorrow. These aren't survival tactics. They're traditions. They're the same habits our grandparents and great-grandparents relied on. Not out of panic, but out of wisdom. When you nurture a small garden, you're not just growing food. You're building peace of mind. You're crafting a safety net made of living things, green, thriving, and dependable. And as you watch those plants grow, you'll feel something priceless. The assurance that no matter what happens in the world, you have life growing under your care. So the next time you hear about rising prices or unpredictable weather, don't let it weigh you down. Remember, you hold the solution in your hands. Let's start planting the foundation of your self-reliance, one crop at a time. Each of these humble plants has been feeding families for centuries. They're not just foods. They're lifelines, simple, dependable, and generous to anyone who tends them. 1. Corn maize. Few crops say survival quite like corn. For generations, it's been the heartbeat of homesteads, providing energy, variety, and comfort. Corn thrives even in less than perfect soil, and when harvested and dried, it becomes a long-lasting pantry staple. You can grind it into flour, make porridge, or even feed livestock. It's a crop that gives back in more ways than one. Tip: choose heirloom varieties if you can. They're not only richer in flavor, but allow you to save seeds for next season. A quiet but powerful form of independence. 2. Potatoes. If you're looking for one crop that truly multiplies your effort, this is it. Potatoes are calorie-dense, filling, and remarkably easy to grow, even in limited space. You don't need fancy equipment. A few buckets, bags, or raised beds will do the job beautifully. Each tuber you plant can yield pounds of food, making it one of the best returns on investment you'll ever see from the soil. Tip: try the straw layering method. Place seed potatoes in a shallow trench and cover them lightly with straw. As the plants grow, add more straw. You'll end up with clean, soil-free potatoes and a larger harvest. 3. Beans. Beans are the quiet heroes of the garden. Humble, hardworking, and endlessly rewarding. They provide protein, replenish the soil with nitrogen, and can be dried or canned for months of storage. For those short on space, beans offer a vertical miracle. Climbing varieties, pole beans, grow upward, saving ground space while producing generous yields. Tip: plant beans near corn. They'll climb the stalks naturally, creating a classic Three Sisters partnership that Native Americans perfected long ago. Corn for structure, beans for protein, and mutual support for the soil. 4. Carrots. Sweet, crunchy, and packed with nutrients, carrots are a gardener's delight. They don't demand much, just loose soil and a bit of patience. Once mature, they can last for months when stored properly, even through winter. In older times, families would bury them in boxes of sand or sawdust in cool cellars, pulling out a handful whenever needed. That same simple wisdom still works today. Tip: plant carrots twice a year, once in early spring and again in late summer. That way, you'll always have a steady, fresh supply for soups, stews, and snacks. Each of these crops tells a story, not just of survival, but of simplicity and wisdom passed down through generations. You don't have to be a farmer or own acres of land. You just need to start small, stay consistent, and trust the process. Let's continue building your survival garden of abundance. Crops that don't just feed the body, but strengthen the spirit. These next 4 plants have stood the test of time, keeping families healthy, full, and grateful through every season. Each one brings its own story of resilience and quiet power. 5. Garlic. If there's one crop that's as practical as it is powerful, it's garlic. This humble bulb is nature's built-in medicine cabinet, boosting the immune system, fighting infections, and flavoring meals with warmth and depth. Garlic asks for little and gives back endlessly. Once planted, it grows quietly beneath the surface, storing energy through the cold months before rewarding you with fat. Fragrant bulbs in early summer. Tip: plant your cloves in the fall before the ground freezes. Let winter's chill harden them, and come early summer, you'll harvest bulbs ready to hang, braid, or store for months. 6. Cabbage. Cabbage is the unsung hero of food security. Tough, dependable, and deeply nourishing. It thrives in cooler weather when most plants have given up. It's a food of the people, from soups and stews to sauerkraut and slaws. During hard times, cabbage kept entire families fed through the winter. It's a reminder that true strength doesn't always come in glamorous packages. Sometimes it comes wrapped in green leaves. Tip: cabbage loves cool air but hates pests. Protect it with fine mesh covers to keep out cabbage moths and beetles, and you'll enjoy healthy, full heads all season long. 7. Wheat or barley. Wheat is the grain that built civilizations. It's the staff of life, grounding, nourishing, and reliable. And though most people imagine vast fields when they think of wheat, the truth is you can grow enough for home use in a modest backyard plot. When the golden stalks sway in the breeze, there's something ancient and sacred about it, a reminder of humanity's oldest partnership with the earth. Tip: watch for the color shift. When stalks turn golden and the grains feel hard between your teeth, it's time to harvest. Dry them, store them, and you've got months of nourishment at hand. 8. Sweet potatoes. Few crops embody abundance like sweet potatoes. Rich in vitamins, hearty in flavor, and forgiving to grow, they're the perfect crop for any household garden. Even a single root can give birth to an entire patch. A living lesson in multiplication and provision. Once planted, they sprawl gently, covering the ground and keeping weeds at bay while building strong, starchy roots beneath. They're not only delicious but store beautifully for months, making them one of the most dependable survival foods on earth. Roast them, mash them, or turn them into chips. They're as versatile as they are nutritious. Tip: grow slips from a mature root. Simply sprout it in water, and each vine that forms can become a new plant. One root can start an entire garden bed of sweet potatoes. As we come to the final stretch of our 15 essential crops for survival, remember, every plant in your garden tells a story of hope, nourishment, and independence. 9. Onions. No kitchen is complete without them. Onions bring depth, warmth, and comfort to nearly every meal. Soups, stews, and sauces all begin with that unmistakable aroma of sizzling onions. Tip: after harvesting, dry the bulbs in the sun for several days until the necks and skins are papery. 10. Sunflowers. Bright, bold, and life-giving, sunflowers do more than lift your mood. Their seeds provide protein, healthy fats, and even oil that can be pressed for cooking. They also attract bees and birds, helping the rest of your garden thrive. Tip: allow the flower heads to dry completely on the stalk before harvesting seeds. Then rub the heads to release them. Perfect for roasting, replanting, or feeding wildlife. 11. Broccoli. This green powerhouse is packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. The kind of food that keeps your immune system strong and your body energized. Broccoli grows well in cooler seasons, making it a smart choice for both spring and fall gardens. Tip: don't stop at the first harvest. After cutting the main head, leave the plant in the ground. Side shoots will keep sprouting for weeks, giving you bonus harvests with minimal effort. 12. Tomatoes. Few crops bring as much joy as the tomato. It's a gardener's favorite for a reason: vibrant, flavorful, and endlessly useful. Fresh in salads, simmered into sauces, canned for winter. Tip: choose determinate varieties if you want an easier, more compact plant that produces fruit all at once. Great for canning or small gardens. 13. Cucumbers. Cucumbers are like nature's hydration gift. Crisp, cooling, and refreshing. They're a summer staple that keeps your body nourished and hydrated. Tip: train vines to grow vertically using trellises or fences. This saves ground space, improves airflow, and gives you straighter, cleaner cucumbers. 14. Herbs, basil, rosemary, thyme. Herbs are the soul of the kitchen and the heart of a self-reliant home. They add flavor, fragrance, and healing power to your meals and remedies. Many also repel pests naturally, helping protect your other crops. Tip: harvest herbs in the morning when oils are strongest. Dry and store them in airtight jars to season your meals year-round. 15. Peanuts or other legumes. Peanuts are a wonderful dual purpose crop, rich in protein, for you and nitrogen for your soil. They improve the land while feeding your body. If peanuts don't grow well in your climate, other legumes like lentils, chickpeas, or cowpeas work beautifully too. Tip: rotate peanuts or legumes with grains or root crops each season to keep your soil fertile and balanced. Each of these crops brings its own lesson in patience, in gratitude, in the quiet miracle of growth. Together, they form the backbone of true food security, nourishment, sustainability, and peace of mind. Even a small yard or balcony can grow a month's worth of meals. That's not an exaggeration. It's a truth our grandparents lived by. You don't need acres of land or fancy equipment. You just need to use what you have with a little creativity and care. A well-planned garden can turn the smallest space into a living pantry. Let's walk through 3 easy layouts: small, medium, and raised bed, so you can see how every inch of soil can work for you. 1. Small space or balcony garden. Perfect for apartment dwellers or those with just a bit of outdoor space. Containers and pots. Use 5 to 10 large containers or buckets. Grow tomatoes, peppers, herbs, and lettuce. Vertical growing. Add a trellis or hanging planters for cucumbers, beans, or even strawberries. Sunlight maximization. Rotate pots every few days to give each plant equal light. Pro tip: mix edible flowers like marigolds or nasturtiums among your crops. They add color, attract pollinators, and repel pests naturally. 2. Medium backyard plot, 10 by 10 feet. This is the perfect starter garden for families who want a little more yield. Layout: divide the plot into 4 squares or sections. Section 1. Root crops, carrots, onions, garlic. Section 2. Leafy greens, cabbage, kale, lettuce. Section 3. Fruits and vines, tomatoes, cucumbers. Section 4. Legumes and grains, beans, peanuts, small wheat patch. Companion planting. Pair crops that help each other, beans near corn, basil beside tomatoes, onions near carrots. Mulch and water. Keep the soil covered with straw or leaves to retain moisture and feed the worms. Pro tip: add stepping stones or wooden planks between rows to make weeding and harvesting easier. And 2. Protect your soil from compaction. 3. Raised bed or senior-friendly garden. Ideal for older gardeners or those who want a low-maintenance setup. Structure: build 2 to 4 raised beds, 3 by 6 feet each. Fill with rich compost and well-draining soil. Crop rotation: alternate crops each season. For example, follow beans, which add nitrogen, with leafy greens that thrive on it. Accessibility: keep paths wide enough for easy access and build beds at waist height if bending is hard. Pro tip: install a simple rain barrel near the garden to catch runoff. Your plants will love untreated rainwater, and you'll save on bills too. Grandparent hack: wisdom from Mr. Lawson. Mr. Henry Lawson used broken bricks to edge his garden, not for looks, but for function. The bricks kept his soil from washing away during rain and helped retain warmth during cool nights. He'd also collect rainwater in old barrels and let the sun warm it before watering his plants. Cold water shocks the roots, he'd say, but sun-kissed water makes them thrive. That kind of wisdom is worth more than any modern gadget, because a garden built with care and resourcefulness will always give back with food, beauty, and peace. Every gardener knows the joy of pulling a basket full of fresh produce from the soil, but the true art of self-reliance begins after the harvest. It's in how we preserve what we've grown, making sure the fruits of our labor last through the months when the garden rests. Preservation isn't just a skill, it's a legacy, one passed down from parents and grandparents who understood the sacred rhythm of planting, reaping, and keeping. Let's walk through the timeless methods that have sustained families for generations. Drying, pickling, and freezing. Simple, safe, and powerful ways to stretch your harvest into the future. 1. Drying, nature's oldest preserver. Drying is one of the easiest and oldest ways to keep food fresh. When you remove moisture, you remove the conditions that cause spoilage. It's that simple. How? Slice fruits or vegetables thinly and spread them on racks or trays in a warm, dry place. You can use an oven set on low or a dehydrator for faster results. What to dry? Tomatoes, herbs, peppers, apples, and even beans. Storage: keep dried produce in airtight jars or bags, away from direct sunlight. Grandparent tip: Mr. Lawson used to string his garlic and herbs together and hang them above the kitchen window, letting the air cure them naturally. He'd say, "When you hang your harvest, you hang your hope for tomorrow." 2. Pickling: the tangy taste of preservation. Pickling transforms fresh vegetables into flavorful treasures that can last for months. It's a simple blend of vinegar, salt, and thyme, and it brings new life to your crops. How? Use a clean jar. Add sliced cucumbers, cabbage, onions, or beans. Cover with a hot mixture of vinegar, water, salt, and optional spices. Seal tightly. What to pickle? Cucumbers, carrots, beets. Cabbage for sauerkraut, and green beans. Storage: keep jars in a cool, dark space for several weeks before opening. Tip: for natural fermentation, skip the vinegar and use saltwater brine. The beneficial bacteria do the work, creating that perfect tangy flavor and gut-friendly probiotics. 3. Freezing: the modern time saver. Freezing locks in nutrients and freshness quickly. It's ideal for busy families who still want to make the most of their harvest. How? Wash, blanch, briefly boil, and cool vegetables before freezing to preserve texture and flavor. What to freeze? Corn, green beans, peas, broccoli, and fruits like berries or peaches. Storage: use airtight freezer bags or containers and label them with dates. Tip: freeze herbs in ice cube trays with olive oil or butter. They'll be ready to drop straight into soups or sauces all year long. Passing the wisdom forward. Our grandparents didn't preserve food because it was trendy. They did it because it was necessary. They knew how to stretch every crop, every season, every gift of the land. But somewhere along the way, many of those traditions faded into convenience. These 15 crops are more than food, they're freedom. A reminder that what we plant today keeps tomorrow secure. When we think about gardening, we often picture soil-stained hands, a warm breeze, and the satisfaction of fresh produce. But beneath that, something deeper is happening, something timeless. Every seed we press into the earth is a quiet declaration of independence. It's a statement that says, I can feed myself. I can care for my family. I can build a future that doesn't depend on chance. In a world that changes faster than the seasons, planting these 15 essential crops isn't just about growing food, it's about growing peace of mind. These are the same kinds of crops that sustained our grandparents through hard times, through droughts, wars, and economic uncertainty. And yet, they thrived because they understood one truth that still holds. Power today, self-reliance begins in the garden. A legacy worth passing down. When you plant your first seed, maybe a potato, a tomato, or a stalk of corn, you're joining a legacy that stretches back centuries. Generations before us learned how to grow what mattered most, how to store it, share it, and survive through it. They didn't call it sustainability back then, they called it living wisely. They didn't say self-reliance, they said common sense. And maybe that's what we need more of today. The kind of grounded wisdom that comes from watching a tiny seed become a full harvest. When you pick up your gardening gloves, you're doing more than tending plants. You're reconnecting with something sacred, something that money can't buy. Food is freedom. Every cucumber, every bean, every ear of corn you grow, that's freedom in your hands. It's freedom from empty shelves, from worry, from dependency. It's the quiet assurance that no matter what the world does, you have what it takes to sustain yourself and those you love. Even if you have just a few pots on a porch or a small corner in your yard, it counts. Because real power isn't in how much land you have. It's in knowing how to make the land you do have work for you. And here's the beautiful truth. The same sun that warmed your grandparents' field still shines on your garden today. Like this video if you value self-reliance and the joy of growing your own food. Comment below and tell us your favorite survival crop. The one you'd plant first if you could only choose one. Subscribe for weekly wisdom from the Evergreen Seniors, where age grows power and every story reminds us that it's never too late to start again. Let this be your reminder. The seeds you plant today, in soil, in habit, in heart, are tomorrow's safety, tomorrow's nourishment, tomorrow's peace. Because these 15 crops aren't just about survival, they're about freedom, resilience, and hope. So get your hands in the dirt, feel the sun on your back, And remember, the garden you grow today may just be the freedom someone else needs tomorrow. Now, what will you plant next?